What's up, everybody? It's Dingers with the boys. That's boys with a Z. We're back with another episode here. I'm Tim. I'm here with Kyle. We're talking about a lot of stuff today. First things first, we're going to talk about LeBron. You know, he just scored over 40,000 points, first to ever do it. What do you think about that, man?
Dude, it's every single game is a record for him. They were saying a lot last night in the game, that every single time he steps on the court and just scores 2 points, it's a new record.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw after the game, Anthony Davis went up to him or something, and they're like, "Hey, what'd you say to him?" And he said, "He's like, LeBron, you got to stop breaking these big records, because every time you do, we lose the game."
Yeah, that was another thing. I was actually laughing because Stephen A. Smith, he's not really a Nuggets fan. He's definitely a Lakers fan. He was complaining that's like, all right, the Lakers unveiled Kobe Bryant's statue. Nuggets beat him. LeBron scores 40,000 points. Nuggets beat him. It's like the Lakers keep on doing these big things and then lose.
Yeah,
it's like,
especially to the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Yeah, when's their next thing? Because maybe, I hope that we're playing
41,000 points maybe. I don't know.
I hope we're playing them whenever the Lakers do something else big, because it's looking good. But I mean, we're just dominating the Lakers right now too, which is
we've won 9 straight, I think.
It's crazy.
Going back to the playoffs last year.
But with LeBron, how do you think this affects his legacy? Because he already is the number one all time. He passed Kareem earlier last year. I don't know. Was that this year? No, that was last year. It was last March. So he passed him last year. I know that's like a big thing. However, so many other of his stats and just different records, I feel like, are almost bigger than some of these points. I know when you see like MVPs and everything like that, it's like, oh, you want him to score a ton of points, you know. But now we already know he's scoring. But how do you think just the point wise affects his legacy, like getting over that 40,000?
Well, I think nobody ever thought anybody would beat Kareem. Just because the points total was so high that it was crazy, like absolutely mind-blowing that he broke it last year.
Yeah.
The fact that he's still playing at a high level, it's just widening that gap of now nobody probably is going to beat this, which who knows, maybe in 70 or 100 years if the league is still a thing, maybe.
There has to be rule changes if somebody would beat it.
Yeah.
There's no way. I know people said that about Kareem, but LeBron we got drafted in 2003. This is his 21st season, and he's doing stuff at 21 that people can't do their second, third, fourth year in the league. He's still averaging 20-some points a game, and
he's still in great shape. So who knows when LeBron is going to hang up his sneakers and say, "Yeah, I'm done." But
it's crazy to me because Kareem is number one in minutes all time, and this is regular season, so it's not. It doesn't include playoffs, I believe. But he's number one in minutes at 57,446. LeBron is second at 55,987. So Kareem actually played 1,459 more minutes than him as of right now.
Yeah,
and he's that much higher.
Yeah.
And I know the 3-point kind of wasn't there all the time, so Kareem's not shooting threes anyways.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a different game, but it's just kind of crazy to me. And also, he's number 4 in assists, 10,847 assists, which a lot of people, they're like, oh no, he just cares about scoring and all this. Well, he's number 4 in assists then.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to catch John Stockton,
no.
But to be number 4 in assists and number 1 in points, it's like, holy cow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
I found it interesting. I thought actually he'd be higher, but he's 31st in rebounds all time. I thought he'd be higher. He'll get in the top 30 for sure. He's only 8 rebounds away from number 30, so he'll probably get that next game. But that one was like the lowest that I was just surprised about. Some other ones, he's number 8 in steals all time. He's 55 away from being 6th, so he'll probably get up there. He's number, like I said, 2 in minutes, and he's number 8 in three-pointers made, which is kind of crazy too, because I feel like he's really not.
Yeah.
You don't think of him as a 3-point shooter or anything.
Not anymore. really.
Yeah, and he still does them, but it's just kind of interesting. And then the one, I don't know if it really surprises me, but he's number 1 in turnovers, and by a pretty big margin. He has 5,140 turnovers, and second place is Russell Westbrook, who's still playing, at 4,561.
Wow.
And so by a pretty healthy margin, he's number 1 in turnovers. And so that surprised me a little bit. I know the more you play, obviously you're gonna turn the ball over.
Yeah.
But if you think that, well, Kareem played more minutes.
It's also like LeBron. Basically, every trip down the floor, he probably has the ball, or at least touches the ball.
Yeah.
So he probably has the ball a lot more, hence probably more turnovers. But
well, that's what I think too. With his view on the court, like his vision, and he expects players to go certain places, and so he definitely throws the ball where he thinks the player should go.
Yeah.
And Jokic does this sometimes too. You see him. Yeah. Well, it's like where he throws it, and then nobody goes there. But in their head, it's like, man, that's the play to do. Yeah. And so, or they try to really fit it into these. I think the biggest thing with LeBron's legacy, though, isn't like the points, like rebounds, whatever, championship. I mean, yeah, that's all huge.
Yeah.
But relatively speaking, he stays out of trouble.
Oh yeah.
He's in the news a lot and everything like that. A lot of people say he flops. Everybody in the NBA flops.
Yeah.
But he stays at you haven't heard that he has a speeding ticket or he cheats on his wife, which they've been together since high school or whatever, and he's been in the limelight since pretty much middle school.
Yeah.
And so I think that is crazy.
Yeah, and that's awesome to see. I think we need more athletes like that. LeBron has definitely been one of the biggest role models, if not the biggest. I think in all 4 major sports, in all of NHL, NFL, NBA, and MLB. I think he is an exceptional role model for young kids growing up, that even if, hey, I'm really good at football growing up, I think you can look towards LeBron and use him as a role model to make yourself even better, even though LeBron plays basketball and you might play
just the way he
football, or even if you're a swimmer or diver or anything like that, just how he holds himself and how he
that's where
commits himself to the game.
It's not even his playing, because a lot of people have so many thoughts about his playing, he whines, like I said, flops and everything. It's the whole NBA, but he's in the limelight more, so you see it more.
Yeah.
I don't like him on the Lakers, but I like LeBron. I know a lot of people, especially people listening, are going to say, well, that's whack.
I think even if you don't like him, you got to respect him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing with LeBron. He's earned everybody's respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whether you like LeBron, whether you're a Lakers fan or a Celtics or a Nuggets fan or whatever, you watch LeBron and you just gotta tip your hat to him. You gotta respect him just because he's earned it.
Yeah, he's fun to watch too, and it'll be interesting to see how much longer he plays.
Yeah,
and also, I think he wants to stay with the Lakers just from what I've seen, but I know he really wants to play with Bronny. But then he makes comments where he's like, no, Bronny needs to be his own, and so it's kind of interesting. And then he's got his other son, Bryce, coming up here in a few years. So it's all right if he thinks he's going to make the league. Do we say a few more years or what? I don't see LeBron being somebody that comes off the bench. But at any point, I really don't see that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything else to prove.
Yeah.
Maybe just to play with his kids for a year, where he's not maybe a Haslam kind of for Miami there for a while. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Jordan was old when he came out of his second retirement for the Wizards, and he played good until he got injured.
Yeah. So hopefully he doesn't get injured, but it'll be interesting. You brought up Ronnie. We kind of talked off camera and about him, and we both think that he should stay in college for another year. I think that cardiac arrest is definitely
really
hurting him, but because I think he is better than what he's showing in college right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his decisions are this upcoming draft. And
I'd be surprised, just the way his season's gone with the cardiac arrest and everything else. I'd be surprised if he comes out.
Yeah.
Obviously, because he's making tons of money out of NIL deals in college already. So it's not, and I mean, his dad's a billionaire. It's not probably for the money as much. And so I think staying one more year, getting a full year under your belt, getting all the practice, everything like that, I think that could help him. And he could, I'm not saying he's going to be a stud in the NBA or anything, but I think it would help him with that. And I think he would do better than he has this year and stuff.
I think that with that being said too, if he does declare for the draft, a team's going to take him, even if it's an undrafted pick. Like somebody.
I don't see how somebody doesn't pick him at least in the second round.
Yeah,
I know second rounds are hitting as of recent, but how don't you take a shot and then possibly getting LeBron?
Yeah, even without that though, like just looking at Bronny and his potential, like there's been a lot of picks.
It's like, all right, if he's even a quarter of what his dad was, man, that's for a second round pick, that's a heck of a pick.
That's a steal.
So we'll see. With LeBron hitting that 40,000, and the other point, big Caitlin Clark today actually just passed Pete Maravich for all time in men's and women's. I think it's a huge deal.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome for the women's sports coming up. However, to me, points don't mean anything. And not anything, sorry. Points don't mean everything.
Yeah.
But Caitlin Clark's one of those too. She rebounds, she assists, she gets other people involved. I'm interested to see how she does in the WNBA. Just with that more talent around her, also a lot better defenders on her and everything, but that's exciting, Caitlin Clark, she's all time, and
I've become a fan watching her play this year, and I'm sure millions of other people have also became fans. But
go ahead.
Just also like with how she kind of behaves herself, and it doesn't really seem like she loves the spotlight or like she's looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
She is always like very humble and
she's just
there, super thankful of her family and all that stuff. So that's awesome to see. So
she exactly like you said, and the stories you hear about her, she's very a very humble person, which is awesome. And she's exactly what women's basketball needed at this time, because the amount of people, like you said, like that. Have you ever really watched college women's basketball before?
Not really.
And how many games have you watched this year though? Because I know you've watched 3 with me.
Probably.
And so maybe that 3 or 4.
I don't know. I'd probably say in the double digits.
And most of them
way more than last year.
Exactly. So. And probably half of those are Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And so, but then you've watched a couple others and stuff. And so it's
CU a lot more this year.
And so I think it's crazy how much she's propelled women's basketball, and it's awesome to see. I will say this is the most women's basketball I've ever watched in the last year, WNBA and college. And I've watched it before. It's not like I never watched it. I still watched it, and that could have been because I have my daughter and everything. But it was, I don't know. It's just so exciting, And I love watching the game, and it's just fun. I've been to a couple CU girls games, and or I haven't been. I've wanted to go to a couple of CU girls games.
I think we watch women's basketball too. It's a lot more team aspect game where the men's you have your superstar where just give him the ball every single time and he'll do everything for you. But the women's not to say they're not as good as the men's and can't do the same thing, but it seems a lot more hey, let's move the ball around, let's set some picks, let's set some screens.
When you're leading scorer on most teams, I feel changes a lot. Even on Iowa, I can't remember the girl's name, but the other girl has been their bigger girl. I think she's a center. Or power forward. I can't remember her name.
I know what you're talking about. I can't.
But she's outscored Caitlin Clark a few times. So you're seeing the leading scorer change a lot, even on these top teams. But it's definitely exciting. Let us know what you think about legacy. Is LeBron's legacy? I'm sure we'll get some hate and stuff about LeBron.
Nah.
It's kind of 50-50. You either really like LeBron or you really don't like him. And so I'm sure we'll get a couple comments from people or texts or whatever, and just kind of see. I personally think LeBron's the greatest of all time. I know a lot of people think Jordan.
I don't know.
It's tough just with.
I don't think I can ever
generational.
I don't think I can ever really say because I never really watched Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm. And I watched him a little bit, but I don't think I realized it at the time. I've watched a lot of replays now, and it's a ton, like a completely different game. But I just think the longevity and what LeBron does every single year, and I know the longevity is why he's the points and everything, but I think that has something to do with it. And I think he's the greatest of all time.
I'm also a believer. I don't think there should be one greatest of all time. I think it would be fine to say Michael Jordan and LeBron are both the greatest, like both GOATs. Yeah, and that goes for every sport.
I was gonna say you got Kareem, Wilt, Bill Russell, all these guys and everything. And a lot of people say Kobe and stuff. So it'll be interesting. But we actually are doing our generational simulation, and obviously we can't. It's a lot different rules and different eras and everything. But we did a few this week, and be on the lookout. Definitely, we posted some about the simulations that we have. But we got our top 8 on the East, top 8 on the West. And this week we did the 1995 and 96 Chicago Bulls versus the 2007-2008 Boston Celtics. That was our number one seed versus our number 8 seed. Chicago has the second best record of all time. And kind of went, it was surprising to me, and I know both these teams are incredible.
Oh, yeah.
But it was surprising to me, it went 7 games.
Yeah. I'm actually not super surprised it went 7 games. I think all of these matchups are going to be 6 or 7 game matchups. Mm-hmm. And it just shows you the two eras of basketball. Like, 95 was a ton different. Like, it was very defensive, and hey, you better be efficient with your offensive possessions because there's not much of them. Mm-hmm. 2007, it's getting back into like, hey, faster pace. Like,
I did notice on all 7 games, it was a close game.
Yeah.
It was, I think the highest one was like 8 points or something like that. And
Yeah,
there was a couple that went into overtime. I think Jordan hit a couple game winners on them, buzzer beaters, which that's what Jordan does. But Scottie Pippen did good as well. But it just surprised me on this one. I thought Chicago would win in 4 or 5, honestly.
Yeah.
Nothing against the Celtics. It was just that Chicago team was so good.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought, I was surprised. And I think they only won by 3 in Game 7.
Yeah, so. It was super close. Which it started, Chicago was up 3-1. So going back to Chicago. So, it could have been over in 5, but Boston.
It's crazy. I like watching these simulations just to kind of see. And
I mean, it's the closest we're going to get to them. But.
Yeah, and we don't know how it's going to be. It could have been Boston.
Yeah.
Did it 4-0, and would that happen in real life?
Yeah.
Probably not. But you never know. Our second one that we did was our other number 1 seed, the greatest regular season record of all time, the 2015-16 Golden State Warriors. They only lost 9 games that year. That was incredible. They ended up losing to LeBron. Yeah. They were up 3-1. They ended up losing 4-3 in that. So that was a crazy season. But they were playing the 2006-2007 Dallas Mavericks, who came out of the play-in games.
Yeah.
And this, woo, upset alert. Man, what brackets busted, man.
I know.
The Mavs won in 6 games.
Yeah, and this just shows you guys, like, we're not trying to script this. Like, we're literally just trying to figure it out with you guys as well. But, yeah, I was pretty shocked with this. I knew there was going to be some upsets in this bracket, like, just looking at all the teams. But I did not think it was going to come this early.
Yeah.
I thought both
especially on this team.
Yeah, especially this team. Like, yeah, our best team of all time based on record is already gone. So
I was just like, boom, dude, flabbergasted. You know, I was just like, And like you said, I knew there was going to be upsets, but this almost makes me want to just do all of the simulations now. We haven't done any of the simulations. We just do each week. Yep. But it makes me want to do more simulations just to see who ends up winning, what happens, because what in the world?
I'm trying to even think what was it, and the only thing I can maybe think of is rebounding.
I mean, you're probably
2015 Golden State Warriors team. Their center was Draymond Green.
That's who's
not
would be guarding Dirk probably.
Probably
which Dirk's definitely big.
I don't know,
I don't know. I know. Was it Josh Howard that had a couple big games, couple really big rebounding games? It's just what in the world? I didn't see that coming at all. I thought those two teams would probably make it at least to the Final Four.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls and the Golden State Warriors. And one of them's already knocked out.
Yeah.
I wish there was a Nuggets team in the group. Honestly, after we made the bracket, I thought about saying, hey, let's just put the Nuggets from last year in. Just to see. Have the Nuggets.
Maybe after the tournament is all done, maybe we can...
Whoever wins the championship, they earned the right to have a 7-game series. Because none of them are good enough for that. And,
I like that idea.
It'd be kind of fun to see. But let's go ahead and take a break really quick, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more. It's Dingers with the boys. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, and Twitter. Go give us a follow.
Yeah, like Tim said, if you like the videos that we're putting out, definitely go follow and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. But let's just get back to the show.
All right, guys, we're back from our break. We were talking LeBron legacy, talked about our simulation, mentioned Caitlin Clark in there as well.
Yep.
But we want to do something a little different for this segment. We want to talk about our top 3 athletes that we'd want to have dinner with. And this doesn't necessarily mean the greatest athletes of all time in their perspective. It could, or who we really liked just as fans, or what. Just all in all, who are the 3 top athletes that you'd want to have dinner if it was a dinner of 4. So I'm going to have you start. I'm all over the place. I still haven't decided who I want. And I know we've been talking about this for a while. I have 20. Can I have 20 athletes? No. We just have a huge super-sized table,
Banquet of super athletes.
Exactly. So, go ahead and you go with your first one.
My first one, I'm going with a favorite player of mine, Mike Bibby.
Mike Bibby, man.
Played for Sacramento Kings.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I remember growing up playing NBA Live. I think it was 2005. I would always try to play Sacramento because I loved playing as Mike Bibby. He was my favorite player. I loved watching him. I loved how small he was, but he can still get up there and play. He just, I don't know. He was super fun to watch. I think he'd be awesome to meet. I don't know how he was as a player, person outside of the game, but I think he would be sweet. He would be super cool to meet.
That's an interesting thing. I've seen a couple pictures of him lately, and he's like a bodybuilder. He's jacked.
I bet. Yeah.
But that would be. So, would you want to meet him just because he was one of your favorite players, or is there a specific reason where you're man, this guy would be awesome to meet?
I think it's just because he's one of my favorite players. Brings back a lot of good memories,
especially at that age range.
Yeah, especially at that age. That was right when I was really getting into sports. I would say at the time I was playing baseball, basketball, soccer. Growing up, I was always around sports.
Yeah.
I would play sports video games all the time.
And you always wanted to be Mike Bibby.
I always wanted to be Mike Bibby. Yeah.
That's very interesting that you wanted to be another team.
Yeah.
How that started, because we're huge Denver people.
Yeah.
And especially Nuggets. Yeah. Other teams, but it's Nuggets.
Well, so playing with a few because I'd play with our cousins or whatever, and we had a rule where you can't pick Denver because both of us, of course, would want to pick Denver.
Okay, that makes
we always try to pick teams that.
It's kind of the same we do in Blitz and stuff,
yeah.
Where it's just a randomizer, and all right, you get to pick out of these 3, and if you get a Denver team, that's even better,
Yeah.
That's a tough one to follow there.
Yeah.
Especially, man.
I went out.
Like I said, I have so many names, and I don't want to pick all basketball because I could name 10, 15, 20 people.
I got 3 players. They're all different sports.
Okay.
So
I'll go basketball with my first one, too. And I'm not saying that I might come back to basketball and others.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go... You probably think I'm going to say Nene.
That's...
He's my favorite player. I love Nene, but I'm not going to. Nene's not on my list. I've met him a couple times.
That's
so
why I was
that's
thinking
why
you might not pick him.
Awesome guy, and it would be so cool to hang out with him. But I'm going to go with Larry Bird.
All right.
And, I wasn't alive when he was playing or anything, but I've watched a lot of documentaries on him. I've watched different games that he was in, read so many stories, and I think his vision on the court, it would be awesome just to sit and dinner too, but just sit and watch a basketball game with him and just, man, what are you seeing at this time?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, do I see some of that same stuff?
Yeah.
And it would just be really fun to hear different stories, like when he was at Indiana State in college and he didn't really want to play basketball. It seemed like he was originally at Indiana, ended up stopping, wasn't going to play basketball, and then ended up playing at Indiana State, and then one of the best players of all time, especially probably him and Magic Johnson really in the 80s, but just the amount of stories and stuff that you hear from other players is kind of this trash talking, and it's like, all right, the score's tied at 90, I'm going to come get the ball here, I'm going to do a spin move and then a fadeaway 3 right in your face to win the game. And that's what he does. He goes literally word for word. And I know there was a couple of games that he was like, I'm kind of bored. I'm going to play everything left-handed. And he actually played everything left-handed, and he scores 40 points. And just kind of just hearing some of the stories that you don't hear from people, and just kind of his life growing up was a lot different than a lot of other players that are in the league and everything. And so I think he would be one of mine that would be really fun to sit and
that would be
with.
really awesome. I'll go into my next player. My next athlete is going to be Michael Phelps.
Dang it, Kyle!
You picked him too?
I was going to pick
right.
him. But I won't now.
All right.
I'll pick somebody else, so go ahead.
We can join tables so we can both sit.
It's all. I'll keep him off my list. I'll tell him why. I'll tell you why, but go ahead.
Maybe you have different reasonings, but I think it would be really cool to have him at the table just because Olympics are not as big, I would say, as like NBA and NFL and all these people like LeBron James, for example. He grew up basically famous.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Phelps, he was really a nobody. Nobody knew him until he set records at the Olympics, until he won all those gold medals. And then even now, like people still know about him, but he's kind of like gone back to just being Michael Phelps. Like
I don't think you know what he's doing right now, but I think people still know who he is. I
just don't think he's as big of a superstar as people would say like some certain NBA or NFL players are. I just want his take on that. Like what's that like? Because arguably he's a better athlete than a lot of those players. Than what he did for his sport was incredible. So
greatest athlete of all time, possibly.
Yeah.
It's with him. It's tough because a lot of Olympians, I still don't know who half of them are, and I watch the Olympics every single year.
Yeah, same.
You really don't think of a lot of those until the Olympics start. But I think those couple weeks at the Olympics, that's the biggest sports going on right at that time. It doesn't matter what else is going on, but you kind of forget about him a lot.
Exactly.
Michael Phelps is tough to say like that because I don't think people forget about Michael Phelps.
Yeah,
There's a lot of other. But I get what you're saying, but my reason, just him being, like I said, one of the greatest athletes of all time. I heard that guy could eat.
Yeah.
He eats a lot. Well, at least when he was training, he was eating a lot of food, and I want to see if I can out eat him.
That's a good reason.
Michael Phelps, how many chicken wings can you eat? And I want to try to beat it or something, you know. And I think it would just be fun just to talk, like, just honestly not even talk about sports with him, just food in general. Just man, how much did you eat when you were in those Olympic Games and everything? Because the stories of what he ate was insane. It was insane how much he ate, and so I think it'd be fun. And like you said, just being one of the top Olympians of all time, I think it would be really fun to kind of sit and eat with him. Another one, he's not on my list, but the other one I wanted to say is, gosh, what the heck's his name though? Well, I can only think of Jaws is his name. It's the professional eating contest. It's Joey Chestnut. Joey Chestnut. I think he'd be fun to eat with, just to see if he actually eats normal when it's just a meal. But he wasn't on my list either. I was gonna say Michael Phelps is my next one, but it's all good. My second one, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say Shaun White. He's another Olympian.
I was thinking about him.
Mm-hmm. Flying tomato, and I think he would just be such a fun guy. He just seems, you know, growing up, becoming famous as a snowboard and skateboarder, and Olympians as a teenager, I feel like you kind of got to just be like a chill guy, and he seems like he would be fun to hang out with, and just hear some of the stories that he's been with too, just how he comes up with his tricks, and like even just training, like how do you, alright, I'm going to do, I think it was the double McTwist or something was one of his. How do you think of that? And the first time, you good? No, you're good, man. The first time you try that, how terrified are you? You know, because like, if you mess this up, some of those injuries, like you could have really bad injuries. And so I think it'd be kind of cool just trying to talk to him about what it's like to come up with a new trick and try that new trick when nobody else in the world has ever done anything like that. Yeah, are you good?
Yeah.
Are you gonna croak on me here? Did you get some of your beard hair in your mouth? Guys, I might have to do the rest of this by myself. Kyle might just be choking over in the corner. Are you good?
I'm good.
Do you want me just to keep talking?
Sure.
I'll do my third one. So I had my three. You kind of messed up my third. So I don't want to do basketball again. I'm kind of trying to stay away from Olympics. I want to be three different sports.
My third player was a baseball player.
Is that
helps you?
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking Jackie Robinson. Drink some water.
I did.
I was thinking Jackie Robinson, just kind of what he was like, he's gone through and everything. But I think I'm gonna go with Muhammad Ali. I think.
All right.
You know, he's he was a philosopher almost. It seemed like he was very well with words. He articulated very well, and I think it'd be cool just to see have a conversation with him. You know, like just to talk. And I'm not really a big boxing guy or anything, but he grew up, he was pretty big in some rough times as well, and he was super stardom, you know, and all the stuff with the army, that was kind of crazy and everything, and just a lot of different things with that. But I think it'd be kind of cool just to hear him be able to talk about his experiences as well. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of like when some older players, just some of the experiences that they've gone through weren't experiences that we would have gone through, and obviously any professional athlete, you know. And so I think that he would be probably my third.
Yeah. I think all those three guys definitely would be awesome. You definitely seem like you went more wisdom side and maybe get some advice from and just see how their upbringings were. Mine, pretty much different. Mine, I'm just going with people that I want to meet because I want to meet them, basically. Yeah. They're favorites of mine. My third player, I'm going the baseball side. I was kind of torn between two, but and I'll say both of them, who I was picking, but I think for who I want at dinner, it's going to be Todd Hilton. I think definitely had to pick a baseball. Mm-hmm. Baseball's arguably it's kind of my favorite sport. I kind of say like basketball is as well. They're kind of tied, but
baseball's terrible.
I love baseball.
I'm just kidding.
Baseball, I grew up playing. I played 15 years, and Todd Helton was one of my favorite players growing up, and I loved that he played for Colorado his whole entire career.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have some questions for him. I'd probably ask him, why did you stay in Colorado? Why, why did you stay here when, hey, he could have
went somewhere
went
else.
anywhere else.
Oh yeah.
Like, with how good he was, he could have gone anywhere else.
Especially at the end
won a
of his
ring,
career. Yep.
Yeah, so, which I'm appreciative. I love that he stayed here, but man, it would have been cool for him to see a ring. I'm glad he made it to the Hall of Fame because he definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
I think that's a great thing.
I think that's the biggest thing I've always wondered is, because Colorado, like Rockies, they were never really good. Like, 2007 was their best year, and that was
an 09
a crazy run to end the year, and that's the only reason why we made it so far. But so yeah, it just seems like Colorado Rockies kind of wasted his talents in a way.
Yeah.
So I just kind of asked him like, hey, do you have any regrets?
Yeah.
Do you wish you would have gone to a different team? If so, where would you wanted to go, or something like that? But
yeah, Todd, I think as baseball, especially players that I knew, he'd probably be my top as well. I liked Larry Walker as well. I loved Andres Galarraga when he was here.
Yeah.
I remember when he got traded to the Braves, I made my parents buy me a Braves hat. And so I wore like an Atlanta Braves hat, which is kind of fun.
Nice.
I just loved Andres Galarraga. I don't know even why, honestly.
The other player I was thinking of was Jason Giambi, which he wasn't really a Rocky. He was a Rocky only for a couple seasons, but I loved when the Rockies got him because, again, he was one of my favorite players. I loved how dominant he was as a hitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed like, especially when he was with the Rockies, he was used as a pinch hitter mostly, and because the Rockies didn't have a DH at the time, the DH rule wasn't a thing, so he would only come in as seventh inning, eighth inning, hey, we need a run here.
Exactly.
And it was amazing how many times he came through. So
it's crazy that I didn't pick a Denver player.
Yeah.
Which is insane because I could name 3 right off the bat. John Elway. I told people my name was John Elway when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
David Thompson, Nene, just all these different players. Joe Sakic, Hayduke, Patrick Wall, all these. And so this was one of the hardest questions for me because I could list 100 people and that would be I could. And so this was a really hard one for me. And my one that I was really debating on was Brady Quinn. He played for Notre Dame, and so he was kind of in there as well. But like you said, I kind of almost went some wisdom and some different stories and different stuff like that. Not necessarily growing up just loving these guys because none of them really played when I mean Sean White, but the other 2 didn't play when I was alive and stuff. And so it's such a hard thing. And maybe whenever we have a guest or something, we'll kind of ask them or see what they kind of think.
That'd be sweet.
And maybe in a couple years, I thought about Jokic even right now, and just there's so many different players and athletes that you can do. And not even athletes. I was thinking Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
He's not an athlete, but I would love to sit down with Mark Cuban. That would be awesome. But
he's a super smart dude.
Yeah. But let us know what you guys think. Go ahead and put on your comment who you would do, and put why as well. We'd love to hear just from other people, just kind of what different generations, just where you grew up, just different stuff. Maybe that had an impact on it and everything as well.
And I apologize for minor dying, coughing.
Oh,
The coughing.
I was what? Yeah, I already forgot about that. Yeah, I thought you were just laying on the ground over here. I thought we were gonna just have to. All right, that's it for the week. I think it's because that you're scared of our picks. We're about to pick 3 picks, and I think you're scared because I'm catching up. I'm only 2 down.
Yeah. We're still both doing bad though. Right?
Oh my gosh, we're doing so bad. Kyle's 11 and 13. I'm 9 and 15.
Yeah.
last year our win percentage was like 65 to 70%, right?
It was
now it's under 50, and so we definitely need to pick it up. But we got 3 games for you this week. First one is on Tuesday, March 5th. Number 2, Purdue at number 13, Illinois. I know who you're going to pick.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pick first? I
already
know who you're going to pick.
I'll pick first, but Tim knows that I will never pick Purdue. I think they're overrated. I think Zach Edey is overrated, so I'm going to go Illinois. Just out of, I don't know, just because I don't like Purdue.
I picked this game knowing that you were going, because I was like, I need to catch up, and so I need to pick a different one.
I'm going to laugh when Illinois wins.
I hope not. I'm going to go with number 2, Purdue. They did play just a couple months ago. It was in Purdue, however, and Purdue won 83-78. It was kind of crazy. Zach Edey only had 10 points that game. He had 15 rebounds, only 10 points. Dude, he's going to be on the Nuggets next year.
If he's on the Nuggets, I'll root for him.
No, you are not allowed. You are not allowed to vote or root for him. I hope you boo him every single time, and everybody then boos you.
I will.
I think Zach Edey's a little too much for him, even though he didn't have a great game last time. He averages 24 points a game, almost 12 rebounds. The crazy thing for me is he almost averages 5 offensive rebounds a game, which is huge.
Yeah.
On Illinois side, I believe they didn't have Terrence Shannon Jr. the first game, and he's their top points per game leader. He averages 22 points per game, and so I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I honestly was thinking Illinois because it's at Illinois, and it was such a close game, and then with Terrence Shannon. But I'm going to go with Purdue as well. I think Zach Edey's going to have a pretty good game, maybe in the 20-30 point range and 10 to 15 rebounds. So I hopefully we'll see how it goes. But
we'll see.
That's our first one. So there's a game for me that I'm going to pick up. Just kidding.
Or lose.
Number 14, Alabama at number 24, Florida is our next game. These are both college basketball, if you don't know. That'll be on Tuesday, March 5th as well. I'll go first on this one. Bama won 98-93 in overtime just a couple weeks ago. That was on February 21st that they played. And this one, it's a tough one. You know, we've picked Bama a couple times. I think this is our second time picking Florida.
Yep.
I keep going back and forth on this one. I think I'm going to go Florida, just them being at home. I think this is just such a close game. I think Bama, what Florida needs to do to win is stop Nelson, Sears, and Estrada. They combined for 59 points the first game, and so I think they really need to stop them. Walter Clayton needs to have a big game again. He had 27 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists last time, and so I think he needs to have a big game. Definitely the Florida students and just the fans need to really get into it, and I think Florida's going to take it this time.
I was also torn between this one. I kept on going back and forth. I've watched a few games of Alabama now and a few games of Florida. Florida is very good in the offensive glass. I think so that could be an impact, but I think I'm going to go Alabama.
Yeah, baby! Yeah!
My gut is telling me Alabama, so I think I gotta stick with my gut here. And
I am going to be so mad if I lose both.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a very good matchup. But yeah, I just can't go against my gut, man. Something is telling me to pick Alabama, and so that's who I'm going with.
I really need to catch up with you because once baseball season starts, I feel like it's not going to be as great for me. I feel like baseball's kind of 50-50 a little bit. It just kind of depends on the pitcher.
Pitchers,
yeah. But I don't know that much about pitchers, so I need to get up a couple.
We
but
can teach
who knows?
you.
Maybe I'll get lucky. Well, it's funny because I worked for the Rockies for a little bit, and then I worked with this Cardinals and the Marlins down in spring training, and so I've worked with baseball teams and I've watched a lot of baseball. It's just boring to me. I don't know. It takes too long. I like we were talking to Book a couple weeks ago. I like the rule change where they have to speed their pitches up. Yeah. That's helped a lot.
I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. But our third one, we'll probably pick the same on this one. We probably shouldn't have picked it just because we'll probably pick the same. Got the Boston Celtics at Denver Nuggets on Thursday night. Huge game. You want to go first? I think it's going to be either way. I'll go first.
I don't know. We can both kind of talk to it together because I think we're both picking Denver.
Yeah, we're both going to pick Denver. We're big Denver guys. I don't know. I know when I said this game before, you're like, are either of us going to not pick Denver?
Yeah.
Probably not, but it's a big game. And
it is a big game.
It's a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
It's in Denver. Jokic and Murray are playing great.
Yep.
Tatum's playing pretty good on the other side. Porzingis is having a great year. Porzingis is hurt, though. I think he's questionable for their next game.
I think he sat out because of this game against Denver.
Interesting.
That's my guess, is they're going to rest him for this game, and then he's going to be back for Denver.
Yeah, that was such a great pickup by Boston, by the way.
Yeah.
But, I think the Nuggets are so good at home, honestly, just overall. And after the All-Star break, it really seems like, all right, hey, it's time.
Yeah,
like before the All-Star break, they were kind of like just coasting in, like, all right, it's,
Yeah.
it's.
They had some injuries too,
but I think they've won 6 straight now.
Yeah, and they've looked great.
Mm-hmm. They were down by 2 with like 2 minutes to go last night against the Lakers, and then they ended up winning by 10.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and that was on the road.
Yep.
So on the road to do that in the last 2 minutes is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And the way, like I said, Jokic is playing, Murray is playing, those two are just so in sync together. MPJ is playing good defense. He's going for rebounds.
Perfect from the field last night.
I didn't see that. That's crazy. I think he had 10, 11 rebounds as well.
Yeah.
And so he's rebounded. AG is locking up people on defense. We didn't have KCP last night either.
Yeah, that was another huge thing.
And so I think the Nuggets are going to take this one, just the way that they're playing and everything. And I'm excited. Me and Kyle are going into Minnesota in a few weeks. We're going to go to the away game. I've never seen the Nuggets win on the road, so if they lose, I'm sorry. I'd also probably bet against them. Just if you're a betting person, probably just bet against them. Yeah, I think 0 for 7. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
But we'll get one of these away games here. Yeah. But I'm excited for that. But I think the Nuggets are definitely going to take care of business. And
I think Denver always matches up pretty well against Boston as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think even if they do have Porzingis, I don't think you can really guard Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Boston losing Drew Holiday, who's going to stop Jamal Murray?
Yeah.
No. Them getting
I was going to say
Drew Holiday. Sorry, I'm thinking Milwaukee for some reason.
Yeah. They also have White. What's his first name?
Derek
White. He's a really good defender as well.
Yeah, I think
it threw me off there first.
I know. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, I think Denver always matches up well against Boston.
Mm-hmm.
They were Boston's first loss at home this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think them being at home too it's gonna be a fun matchup.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
I'm excited to check it out. But that's all we got for this week. Hopefully you guys liked it. Hopefully you guys are keeping tabs on that simulation. We're kind of posting that on YouTube and Instagram as well. But definitely go give us a follow. We really appreciate that. Subscribe on our YouTube channel, and we hope you guys have a great week, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
Yep. Hopefully, like Tim said, have a good week. Let us know any criticisms, improvements that we can do, but trying to get better every episode.
Yep, exactly. All right, we'll see you later, alligators. Peace!